are you guys all today? How's your Barcamp Tampa event? Yeah, so this is all stuff I just made in like the last 10-15 minutes, and I didn't know about this whole event until this morning, actually, when I woke up and I saw it on Reddit, or I think it was like on the Suncoast Developer group. I'm like, oh, there's an event today, I should really go to that. So, a little bit about myself. I work for a consultancy firm in town called E2 Generations. We build startup apps with an investment firm. Essentially, a bunch of companies want to build a startup app, and they go to our company and we build out those applications. So, one of the things that has really helped me in my career, actually, is participating in hackathons. So, let me ask a question to everybody in terms of what you guys know about hackathons. Can I get like a general consensus or just any ideas or feedback? What is the first thing you think about when you think of a hackathon? Anybody?
Building things and having people test it out for you.
Intense coding.
Yeah.
So intense coding, working together with people.
I think it's like this group of, it's like an event, a whole bunch of group of people get together and see, they get a task to see if they can into certain systems in a certain amount of time.
Yeah. So getting together a task, working on coding, working together with people. Those are all like general themes when you think of a hackathon. And what else as well?
Learning from our peers and then seeing what companies do that are there, not advertising, but sponsoring it.
So sponsors, learning from others, definitely also potential mentorship and mentees. So this is actually not a hackathon, by the way. This is actually Suncoast Developer Groups and Cocadas. They have an event every other week, I believe, and where they get together and just like work on different small like programs together on Code Wars or HackerRank. But this is my general impression when I first thought of what a hackathon was. It's just a bunch of people having a good time, programming, everyone has a computer out, we're all on the same page, we're all developing something together, building something cool. But really I just want to go and highlight like some of the things that I've like personally experienced by first kind of like showing you like all the hackathons that I've been a part of. And then going from there, kind of showing you between each project, like what I learned and what I got out of each of those things. So this is not really like a formal presentation, it's just me kind of winging it because I literally didn't even prepare any of this. Like I just literally prepared this like last minute. But I have a lot of experience with hackathons. I competed about 10 of them already. I've won in about 2 or 3, anywhere from nothing impressive. I think I only won like $1,000. I've competed in hackathons where it was like 50 grand prize pools, and like I've seen like really intense competition before. But that's not really the point though. The point of the hackathon for me was really just leveling up my career. It taught me so many different things, so many different concepts, so many different industries, and I kind of want to highlight that with actual projects, kind of like a demonstration, if that makes sense. So I have like an actual there is like a place where you can actually upload your hackathon portfolios, and there's this place called devpost.com, and then that's my username tag. So I'm just going to go over like kind of like my first experiences on going through with hackathons and kind of what I learned from it. So just some background, I haven't really developed that long. I've only been developing probably like full time about a year, maybe like a year and a half. So I'm very junior in terms of like how much stuff I know, but hackathons has really kind of like boosted that career like immensely going from there. So let me start off with some of the hackathons that I've actually been a part of. Starting with like the first one and going from there. So let me exit full screen. This is kind of like my little page. So the very first hackathon I've ever been a part of, I literally did not know how to use it. Who here has used React? React is a popular front-end framework, right? I literally didn't know anything about React. Like it was just like, what is this React concept? What is this? And when I first did my first project, this was the very first thing I built. The very first like application that I actually made. And it is I'll show you, there's a video of it. It's a brain training app. So essentially, have you guys ever played Luminosity? Like those little brain training apps where it's like, hey, let's look at this number here, and then like pops in their letter, and you have to guess what was beforehand, right? Those little logic puzzles. This is what we created first and foremost. It's an app where you test out you see a letter, you see a color, and you have to guess which letter and color came after it, right? So this was built just straight using React, and this taught me how to actually use React for the first time. So because of this, I got to have experience with working with a group of experienced senior developers who actually kind of walked me through the ropes of how that's actually built. In terms of like what this actually looks like, I just made an Instagram page. It's over somewhere here. I'll show you what it looks like. This is the very first. This is like my whole team. You know, we had designers, we had developers, we had business people, we had everything on board, and that was kind of like the highlight in terms of understanding how software companies work as a whole. So really, what it taught me is it's better to specialize in specific tasks because everyone has to get together on a specific project. There has to be someone who has to do all the mock-ups, someone has to actually write the code, someone has to write the presentation, someone has to do everything. So really, for me, by going through the hackathon, I really got to experience that whole corporate mindset or that whole startup mindset before I even worked my first job. And this was before I even worked anything in software development. So just some images of like what it's like to be at a hackathon, what it's like. You have, you know, a lot of project planning, you have sprint planning. If you guys ever work in software careers right now, you might be familiar with Agile or Scrum, which is very similar to what we're doing right here as well. We have tasks, sticky notes, and we just put it down, try to figure out like what's the app, what is the app going to do, what is the function, how can we scope it down to the smallest way possible. So, you know, and then at the very end you present it, and you really get to see like how your project compares to everyone else's. So that's something I learned there at my first hackathon, was really experiencing like how to use React, how to actually present something, and et cetera. You know, and just some other applications that I built afterward. I've also worked in another project where I got to work with NASA's API. So have you guys ever competed in NASA Space Apps Hackathon, or has anyone ever competed in a hackathon in general? What's your experience with hackathons?
Well, mine was a little different because I did Startup Bus.
Startup Bus, yes.
Twice.
So Startup Bus, because my friend is really into that kind of stuff too. You're on a bus, and you're programming all the way from one city to all the way to another city, all the way in a whole different state, right? And you're literally just programming like this. You try not to throw up while you're doing it because you're on a moving bus. And you're just like, I got to code while doing this, and like.
It's way wilder than that, man. It's 54 hours from Tampa to. Well, when we did it, it was Austin. So we
Texas.
did
Wow.
Tampa to Atlanta to New Orleans to Austin.
So you get crazy stories like that, and you've had like some interesting experiences, right?
Oh yeah, I have about a half-written screenplay out of the whole thing. It's probably not all of it's probably safe for this conversation.
It's not.
But you have to pitch to live investors, like by the time you arrive.
Yeah.
So it's a great experience.
We should call it the Hangover 4.
Yeah.
You already have this experience. You should go, man.
I should try it out.
Like it. It's a great experience.
I want to show like another app. This is another app that I got to work with. Actually, this hackathon is coming up. So if you're interested, it's coming up. I think next month or the month after. And it is called the NASA Space Apps Hackathon. So essentially, what it is you get together with a bunch of people and you have a certain list of projects that you can build out in terms of like what NASA's initiatives are, whether you're building out an app to like showcase like here's some of the things happening in NASA right now, here's some of the things happening in different parts of the world, here's some things that we're currently struggling with and what to visually teach to different people. So one of the projects that I got to work on is actually this. It's better to show what that is before I just explain it. It is a picture, a map of the world, and if Heroku would just load faster, it's free though, but it's a little visual map of the world. We actually forked it from an open source repo, which a lot of this was already built out, but we got to write out like local functionality widgets here. So if you click randomize, it takes you to a random part of the world, and it pulls through NASA's API and shows you an image and a description of kind of like something space interesting related. So this project taught me how to use HTML on Canvas. It taught me how to pull through NASA's API. It taught me how to do backend development. And it also taught me how to work with other developers. Because I didn't know how to use Git that well. And a lot of times in the first hackathon, I was just like slacking through like a bunch of code and like, here, just paste this code into your repo and make sure it works. Like, we didn't have branches, we just worked off master. This one, we actually had a formal Git structure where it's like, here's master, here's your development branch, here's your epic branch. So I got to learn like more of like the whole traditional software development workflow when I built this. And got to actually kind of explore around with like how like, I didn't understand how like geographic APIs worked. But for this one, actually, you could actually just use the actual query parameters at the very top, and you could specify. I don't know if you can read that, but actually, it doesn't zoom in. It doesn't zoom in this thing right here. This is like a little like URL at the very top, or a little like URL with the location parameter. So you can specify a whole different number, and it takes you, takes you to a different zoom level. It takes you to a different part of the world. So yeah. That's kind of how I learned how to work with maps and map APIs. It was actually through a hackathon. I had no conceptual knowledge of any of this. So I'm just kind of hitting on different points. You can interrupt me at any point in time in case you have questions. Yeah?
So they're very receptive to like beginners, I guess?
Yeah, they're totally open and receptive to any beginners. I literally came from beginner mindset because I didn't know anything better, but it's very receptive. Everyone is like really cool if you don't have any experience in development. I've had to teach people how to use Git for the first time. I've had people teach me how to use Git, and I've had people teach me like amazing amounts of things. So hackathons are really great in that you have a very short time frame to build out that project, and because you're like your project is on the line, and like you're almost like I don't know how to put it. It's like your pride is on the line. You want to make sure that within these 3 days you get something delivered, right? That same representation is kind of how you transition it compared to like the work world. Like your boss says, "Hey, I need this by tomorrow," and maybe it only takes you 5 days. You just with hackathons you learn about all these like tools of the trade, like how to make like I call it shitty code. It is really shitty code sometimes. Like we've had to we fake logins, we fake everything sometimes. We even fake the presentation. I can show you some examples of the actual stuff we faked. Yeah. But like sometimes it's okay to do that because it's the idea and the pitch is more important because if your business manager isn't on board, then they're not on board. So, any other questions so far? Yeah.
So if you don't have a team, can you still join as an individual? Are they going to place us in a team?
Yeah. So the question is, if you don't have a team, can you still join other teams? Yeah, of course. So one of the things you do when you're in a hackathon is they actually have like an icebreaker where you kind of like break it down like, okay, let's like practice a little like, we'll write things on a page and then like you have 2 words to pick and make a whole pitch out of it. And people will come up there with all sorts of crazy ideas. I don't even remember half of them. There are a lot of them, but people will pitch up projects and they'll say, hey, I'm a programmer with so-and-so experience. I need a designer to help me with this part of the project. Or there might be a business person that has like a startup idea, like this one actually that became an actual project. He wanted to build out like a website to inform consumers about solar-related things happening in Orlando, because that's where I'm from. And he had like a ton of people on board with that. So it just really depends. If you go there by yourself, you can find someone to work with. And you don't have to have any conceptual knowledge about doing anything. It's great. Yeah.
Great. Please tell me, share how you grew from level 0 when you didn't know anything about React or Git. And how did you contribute and still learn? Because I doubt you took the O'Reilly books with you.
Oh no, I didn't. A lot of times when I got to the hackathon, it's like, we're building in this framework, in this application, and it's like, I don't know how to create a React app. Actually, I didn't know how to create it. I didn't even know like what the create React app command was. I'm just like, okay, how do you install this? How do I do this? And I just, like, sometimes in the first couple hours, I'm just watching tutorials.
Okay.
There's nothing wrong with that. There's nothing wrong with watching tutorials. Like, a lot of people have no conceptual idea of what they're doing when they get there. So it's actually encouraged for you to actually learn while you're doing it. And that's how I had to do it too. So yeah, another
It's
question.
just for developer because I'm actually a QA. Do you have QA as well?
Yeah, my good friend is actually a QA developer or QA quality engineer, right? And he he's still in that transition process, but one of the things that has really helped him out in job interviews is actually hackathons. Because it's a nice way, like you can see like right now, like I have, even though this is my hackathon portfolio, it passes off as a real portfolio. So, and I've only spent like, between all these projects, I've only spent roughly 15 days of my life doing it because it was all in a 3-day period. Like this was 3 days, this was 3 days, that was the 3 days. Actually, my math is wrong, 18 days, but but really, this is like 18 days of my life, just like 24 hours at a time, and drinking coffee and drinking monster drinks, and sleeping in 3 a.m. under this desk or something, and just. You don't have to do that. You could go home and just sleep or the hotel, wherever you're at. But it makes it more fun.
Right?
Yeah. Some people bring like camping gear and just like, all right, let's throw some tents down and we'll just go in there and sleep. So, and you get really good at planning your sleep schedules because like what I do sometimes is it's usually a 3-day event. I'll hit it hard starting out on the first day, and then I'll sleep and I'll wake up late. And then I'll power through like 20 hours right afterward after the presentation.
You make it.
Yeah. Or sometimes I just sleep for 3 hours. Like I have to know like these sleep habit tricks. Like you can take coffee and then take an hour nap and then you wake up and you're energized. Like little tricks like that. You just like it's helpful when you're like have to crunch under like a real a database got dropped and we need the production. Like we need you here right now. You're on call right now because you have to fix it or else we're gonna lose money. So it's a good habit to like learn how what you're like when you're stressed out. So some people sink, some people float. You can see where you're at when you get really stressed out, and this is a great way of testing it out. Before you ever work in like a real world like development environment, or maybe you work in a development environment, but maybe you haven't had to deal with that stressful time of like everything is broken. You got to fix it up as soon as possible. You have to work however many hours, and like. I don't like doing it, but sometimes you have to do it. So another
Where did you find the first ones when you started? Because I'm told from someone who's really into them that people call him up now, like the phone.
That's funny.
To see if that he'll be on their team. Like initially, he was like one of us, and he had to just find it randomly.
I find a lot of it. Actually, my good friend is he's one of the more well-known hackathon hackers, and actually I know a bunch of hackathon hackers, I guess you'd say, in like the hackathon space where they compete in like 50K prize pools sometimes. So they know everything that's happening behind the scenes, and everyone knows of them. They have like a name for themselves, and I usually compete with them a lot. But a good way to find out, again with the actual things, it depends if you're in school. Like who here? I guess a lot of you are working, are you students? Currently?
I'm working and I'm a student. I'm finishing my degree in computer science.
Yeah, so if you're actually currently enrolled in a program, are currently enrolled in a college, you could try out Major League Hacking, which actually is specifically for students only. But I'm not a student, so it doesn't really apply to me. But Major League Hacking is the official organization that handles all of the student related hackathons only. So if they have venues and events over at a lot of different universities across the world. So Miami has Mango Hacks, Orlando with UCF has Night Hacks. And you can just type in like Florida and then you can kind of see it. So there's one in Tallahassee right now. You can see right here. Tallahassee is one right here. You've got one in Miami, Shell Hacks. You've got one in, it's just Tallahassee and Miami right now. Mm-hmm. But another place you can check out is called deadpost.com. And this shows you both the ones that are in person. It's the same place that I was showing you the URL earlier. It's just a dev post, but it shows you like how much money and prize pools there are. I don't know if you can see that, but one of them says like 123,000, and like I've seen a single developer like this healthcare hackathon that we worked at. I can show you the healthcare hackathon that we built, or the project we built. I saw a guy win 30K as a solo developer. And he got like the giant like check. I could show a picture of it. He got like the giant check, and there's like, man, how did he do it? And he's just
by himself.
And he did it by himself. He made like a where is it? Here it is.
Is the DevPost one just for students or is it for everyone?
It's for everyone. Here, you want to see what the checks look like?
Yeah.
Oh, sorry. I just throw things on Instagram. You can follow me on there if you want. But yeah, so this is what the check looks like. If you if you don't believe me, it's you can read that. It says third place is $5,000. I don't know how to do this on Instagram, but it says $5,000 there, 15 grand for second place, and 30 grand for first place.
Some of them say online.
Yeah, but oh, sorry. So we had some late nights out. We were partying sometimes, but yeah, this one dude, he won 30 grand by himself.
Wow.
He actually built a machine learning app. So what you do is like if you draw if you get injured, right? You get a cut in your arm. His app actually takes your phone and your camera, and it reads through it and sees where those actual cuts are, and it shows you in real time on the actual app itself, it actually marks out where they are, and it's used to track down how your healing is happening over time with any cuts that you have, and it's useful for doctors. Yeah.
So he won $30 there, but if he developed that afterwards. It's his, right? It's his proprietary
it's
thing, right?
his idea.
So now he can go market that to hospitals and stuff like that.
Actually,
whatever, make you more money.
I have a good project as well where we actually did something like that and actually became a real company. This other one right here, it's called Cherry Pick. So who here grocery shops? I'm sure everyone does. Who here grocery shops? That's everybody, right?
Instagram, get delivered.
So there is something in Europe. It's more of a European thing, I think, or maybe more of a New York or California thing. Some people will actually. Who here uses any coupon sites? Who here uses coupons online?
Yeah, I do.
Maybe slickdeals.net, or if you're buying
Yes,
if you're buying general
we
consumers, or if you're buying actual food, or yeah, if you use food coupons, buy one get one free, or get 50% off. This is that same concept, and what it does is I just want to explain what it is. Let me just run through the video. So basically what it is you have this application, right? And you buy all your groceries, right? And you have a receipt, and you have your food. In this case, it's a Chobani yogurt over somewhere on the side. So you're taking a picture of it, and you actually verbally explain what you're actually trying to put down as your line item. In this case, I put down Chobani yogurt, and I literally just faked that. That's actually supposed to be using IBM Watson's API for speech to text, but we totally faked it. You get a picture of your receipt, and then you take a picture of a food that's going to expire within the next few days, and you take a picture of that, and that gets sent to our server in the back end, which then gives you cash back afterward. And you get cash back after. So basically the incentive is grocery stores are going to waste food on nearly expired goods, and by having consumers buy those expired goods, they get cash back on stuff that wouldn't have been wasted. So this actually became an actual company, and my friend is actually running it right now, and it just started its beta test on the Google Play Store.
Wow.
Yeah, so.
How would you recommend if I saw because I don't know how to get involved in this, but I saw online applications on DevPost. You just showed me.
Yeah.
How would I get a
You
group?
just show up. You just
But
literally
it's
show
online.
up.
It's online.
Like you did.
Oh, the online ones. So I'm always skeptical of the online ones, just because it's so much more competitive. You're
Really?
competing against people in Europe and in South America, and they've got a lot of free time on their hands because the wages are different, right? Our standard of living is higher, or our standard of living costs are higher than in another country or a third world country, right? So when you have to compete with everybody in the same prize pool, it's just much more difficult. I would usually stick with ones that are local or that or in person, because your chances of winning are much higher too.
Do you have another site for the local ones? Because there's only 2 out of 6 that are local that are in person on the DevPost.
Yeah.
Most are online.
There's a list you have to click on the in-person ones. I'm scrolling through.
So is there another website besides DevPost?
Let me check.
Okay, but you haven't been using it.
I haven't been using it personally, just because my friend knows of every hackathon that's coming up, and he just tells me hey, you want to compete this full stack hackathon? And it's sure. What is it on? Healthcare, okay, right?
Oh.
So it's kind of weird because I know DevPost is great, and also the other one, the other Major League Hacking is really good if you're going to school. But other than that, I don't really know particularly where people look for them. I know DevPost is good though, but.
So maybe that's you invest y'all connect and he can do what his friend does to you. He can call you up and say, hey.
Yeah, I can tell you. I can tell you.
Actually, yeah, do you post hackathons that are coming up on your Insta?
I do
Or I
sometimes
can call
on
them
Twitter.
up.
Yeah, you can,
It's fine.
you
You and me,
can,
Vincent.
yeah. If you want to go to Twitter and follow me on
Oh, gee.
Twitter, then I usually post things there too. But
Good idea.
I honestly don't know where the best place is, just because my friend knows where all of them are at.
Yeah, that's
I get hooked up, so.
Have you gotten any job offers from?
Yeah. Actually, the place I work at right now, one of the reasons why they hired me is because I had a lot of hackathon experience. Because in a startup consultancy world, you're basically building a hackathon out every day. Because you have to know the fine line between good code and good, beautiful corporate code versus shitty workaround hack code. So you have to have this fine balance because they pay you by the hour and they want this stuff done within a short time span. So having someone with hackathon experience is good. And also working at an agency for the first time is also a great way to get your feet wet because you get to explore like so many different
You
projects.
said working at an agency?
I work at an agency that does everything but WordPress. So that's all the fun stuff.
What's an agency?
An agency is a place that builds a bunch of startup apps for different clients. So someone comes up to someone and says, hey, I want to build this great idea. You know, we're going to make the new Facebook for business users, right? And obviously it's a joke, but they'll have money, they'll have investments up front, and then that money then goes to the developers who build it out. Yeah, what's up?
Do you need to be a programmer?
You don't have to be a programmer. You can be a designer. So we also need to have, in a hackathon, you need to have someone to write the mock-ups as well.
UIs.
So I don't have pictures of what the mock-ups look like because I didn't put it anywhere on there. Actually, maybe I might have.
After your 4 or 5 hackathons, you probably learned something about the other people and their skill set too, huh?
Yeah. I learned how to be a designer. There's this one hackathon that I had to do. It's not on here, but it is a Google Flutter hackathon. Who here is familiar? Has heard of Google Flutter? Can you tell me what it is?
It's their next app development.
It's for mobile. Yeah, so Google Flutter is for mobile development using Google's own proprietary language. We had 5 hours to build it out, and we had 1 hour left. The 2 members on my team didn't know how to use Git or GitHub, so I had to kind of teach them the basics. And then I had an hour left, and I just said, you know what? We're all designers today. Screw it. And we all literally just made our own design mock-up. And we actually, there's a tool called Figma, and it lets you actually take that app onto your phone, which I don't have. Oh, it's right there. But it lets you take your app on your phone and actually pretend like it was a real phone. Actually, I have that slide right here. That slide is over right here. I don't know if you can see it. I think I took pictures of everything. It's called One Job. So I was looking for a job at the time. That's why everyone else was too. But I literally took that app and it was literally just mock-ups, literally mock-ups. And I just took every mock-up. When you click that page, it'll just go to a different mock-up, and I'll actually pretend like it was actually working. Here's a list of job postings, and I'm gonna click the one that says Google, and then it actually goes to a new Google page listing, and it's like I go down to submit, and I'll actually click the submit button, even though it didn't do anything. It just went to another page. So we literally did that in an hour, and we weren't even programmers. We were just making it. We got second place, by the way. And I got a free Google VR kit too, so you get free swag as well. It's a great thing.
Oh.
Yeah, so it's a great way to get your feet wet. Let me see if there's anything else worth covering in terms of things I've learned and things. Oh, actually, I got to work in the telecom industry as well. Using another cool thing. So who here has anyone worked at a call center before?
Yeah.
I'm sure people have.
Yeah.
Right, there's all sorts of complex hardware setups and SIP servers and all this other whatever. I don't even know what that is, but we gotta build an app. Actually, who here has done chat roulette back in the day?
What?
Who has heard of chat roulette? You want to explain what it is?
It's this website, and you click the next button, and you're connected with someone
Basically, you
else.
use 2 people's webcams and you can talk.
Yeah. So what it is you're a random user, and there's another guy in Bulgaria or whatever, and you're both logging in at the same time, and then you connect together on the website, and then you see the guy's webcam, and then he sees your webcam, and sometimes it's inappropriate content, like 90% of the time, you know. There's a joke, there's a lot of me a dick somewhere, but we wanted to take the same concept and make it, you know, 2019, right? Except instead of face cams, it's phones. So we called it speed dating phone roulette. So here's a quick demo. I don't know if the volume is going to be any good here, but probably not. Okay, well it's pretty crappy right now. But kind of just blowing through, there is like this voice API that we use, and it connects you to a different person around the world that's calling at the same time. And when you both call at that same phone number, like 1-800-255-HOOK-UP or something. Actually, that's too long, but when you call those numbers at the same time, it checks like your gender, because basic registration, and it checks their gender as well and their preference, and it matches you together based on an anonymous third-party phone call system that we created. So they don't know your number, and you don't know their number unless you really want to share it. So just me and my friend were demoing it. You obviously can't hear anything. If you're curious what it actually looks like in terms of like the actual mock-up and the architecture, this is what it looks like. So I was Princess Peach in this case. All right, yeah, it was a joke, but I was Princess Peach and then he was Mario. We both called to this service, then we connected to Firebase, and then that connected us, and then we fell in love or whatever. Love at first sight, right? And then we gotta get like a little service afterward, kind of detailing like how we felt about the phone call, like the after service, right? So this is how it all worked, but the volume doesn't work. The volume is like half the thing. So I got to learn about telecommunication APIs. We actually got to present at a conference right afterward for the winners, and actually that conference is right over. I put it over here. It's right over here. We got to present it. Yeah, that's me over there, right? So it's really cool. You get the opportunity to also speak at a conference as well, and you get to go in front of like 100 different like corporate entities. Like Zoom was there, Microsoft was there, Cisco was there, and I got to talk to all sorts of recruiters. I got to learn about how telecommunication systems work, how much analytics goes behind the scenes. And that conference was normally $500, and I got it for free. So it's cool things like that, like little things like that. You get free swag, you get free events, you get free a lot of cool things, and you just have to show up. Does anyone have other questions?
So when you're beginning, what would you suggest in hindsight that we volunteer for? I know you said you use tutorials to learn something, but what should I volunteer to contribute to?
Oh yeah. So you always have to volunteer yourself as a specialist in some regard, because you can't have like 5 generalists and then you expect a nice product out of it, right? Someone has to be the designer, someone has to be the developer. If you want to get into your first development role, you should volunteer to be a developer, even if you have no experience doing it. And try, especially if you're like me, where you have no prior background, pick the project where there's the most number of senior devs in the team, because they can just all mentor you for you. So that's another good way to scout out the right project. You just this guy looks like he knows what he's doing, and he looks like he's a good leader. I'm going to go with this team, even though the idea sucks. So it doesn't matter about the idea or the pitch. Just try to find someone that will teach you a lot. Or maybe if you're on that same position where you know a lot, you can be the person teaching them. And you have to go full circle when you want to become a better developer. You have to have someone that's better than you, someone at the same level, and someone that you have to train. So by taking those different steps, you're going to become a much better developer, and you're going to have a lot of great opportunities. Any other questions?
Do the hackathons have different themes?
Yeah. So every hackathon has a different theme. So back to that one, just to give you a generic example. Kind of give a brief overview. This first one, that was that healthcare app that I had to make with the little Oh, I didn't even show that app actually. It's actually I was showing someone earlier, but this one's actually really cool because it's a. Did I show this one already?
No.
It is a full stack IoT app. IoT stands for Internet of Technology, so it's hardware and software integrated. So before I get into what it is, who here has a dog? Who here owns a dog or a cat? No, nobody. Okay. One person. Have you ever heard of an automatic dog feeder?
Yeah.
Yeah, so it's this little thing that sits on the ground, and then like you got food like inside of it, and like at a certain time of day it just spits out food. All right. So this is a healthcare hackathon, so obviously we're not doing dog food, but instead of a dog, it's actually someone who's ill or like an elderly patient. And that's a bad analogy, like a dog, like an elderly patient. And instead of food, it's medication pills. So imagine that whole setup. Instead of dogs, healthcare patient. Instead of food, it's pills. So this will make more sense. So what it is it's this online portal that you sign up for the first time. This was all fake, by the way. We faked the login. And you create this prescription, which you can't really see. You create like a dosage and a prescription and everything else. Can you guys read that? Probably not. But you're putting like a prescription. You're putting like a description of like what the person, the loved one should be taking. Like they should be taking lisinopril at dosage G with, I don't know what that even means, but it's some sort of medical term. Okay, so they're taking some sort of pill, and we got like a success page. That goes over to our Android, and it goes through with SMS notification, and that SMS notification creates a QR code, which then you can scan on a hardware device, which just has a webcam, and it checks through that actual device, and it checks your facial features as well. With machine learning, they'll check if that person is who they say they are. You don't want random people taking random pills. And then they log in, they get authenticated, and what happens right afterward is that connects to a database, and that gets pulled through to our Arduino device, which then rotates the spindle and shoots out the pill. And we obviously, you could tell, like we just took random crap. We found like random to make this. But we brought our Arduinos, we brought our own servos, and like I wasn't the hardware guy. I had to do the all other software development. But if you want to see what it looks like, it's right here. This is my team. It's 4 people. They're all pretty hardcore hackathoners, and they invited me. So you can see that there's like a lot of crap going on here. Yeah, we had a lot of crap going on. So like this is all the hardware that we brought with us. I don't know anything about hardware, by the way. So I got to learn like how this all works. Sort of. It's just databases. Everything just connected to the database. That's how everything works. So. That was that whole project. Oh, that was that hackathon thing I showed earlier. We got 130K.
Oh, was it you?
And we got massages afterward too. But so I got to learn how that all integrates. So from like those 18 days, I got to learn how to use telecommunication systems. I got to learn how to use IoT integration. Got to learn how to do database work. I got to learn how to do React development, and I did this all like within a short time frame.
Any hackathons that you,
Okay, go ahead.
Any hackathons that you, in hindsight, have advice on for how to learn more or something? Or how to choose a hackathon that may be worth the travel? Because I'm going to pay for a train ticket to DC or something, you know?
I would stick to the ones in Florida, either Miami, Tallahassee, Orlando, or Tampa, just because they're all local. Yeah, what's up?
So if you register for hackathons in advance, they pay for your travel.
It depends. Some will give
For
you
the one in Miami, I went there and they had a bus service from USF, UCF, and everything. So most hackathons try to make arrangements for students. Like they told me that if I was traveling from Boston, they would have paid for my flight ticket.
Sure. Yeah, that makes sense.
So some hackathons they do give you money for traveling.
Even if you're not a student?
Yes. No, you have to be a student.
Oh, no.
But they don't really check. Even though he's saying that MNH is for students,
some do though. The last one. I want to show one last project. I got to actually do game production as well, even though I don't know how to do game production at all. I got to do game production management. This one's the coolest one, by the way. Actually, here I'll show you what it actually is. So, who here has played Asteroids, the original Atari classic, where you have like your like little like triangular thingy, and that's your player, and you're shooting asteroids flying everywhere, and they're exploding, and you're trying not to die. Essentially, we took this in 2019, made it modern again. We tried to make a multiplayer, which we had problems, but we even had a really talented video production guy. So I wish I could play the volume. There is custom sounds for everything, by the way. So we had our own video intro. We've had our own logo design. This is our video game. We made a video game, actually. And then this is the actual site, by the way. So. If it would, it's uploading so slow, but yeah, this whole intro we made, this is just a video on an HTML page with a floating div on the top. That's all it really is. And this is all something we did within 24 hours. I gotta write the whole like screen flow mock-up, kind of like if you're like a director or producer, you write like this is the first screen, second screen, here's the whole flow of the video intro. I gotta do that, and then someone actually made the video itself. When you actually create and join the game, which it's kind of slow because we have memory leak issues, and we also deployed our videos on Firebase, which kind of screws up our bandwidth usage. But yeah, so that's why it's kind of slow right now. But I'll show you what it actually is when it starts loading up for the first time, which it's gonna load up. You know,
Vincent, I don't want to cut you off, but
yeah, I gotcha.
yeah, sometimes I just want to make sure the next one's gonna have enough time.
Yeah. So
Sure.
I'll just show you. It's right here. It is right here. So you gotta fly around. There's asteroids everywhere. We gotta build this in 48 hours.
That's good.
That's nice, yeah.
Yeah, look, and if you get hit, you also become on fire right here. And we actually gotta make our own sprite animations for that.
Any tips on how to make sure you don't go to like a
And then watch me die.
one
right?
that's not really, that doesn't have enough teams or enough going on?
I would go to ones with prize pools because there's definitely people there.
Okay.
And
Okay.
plus you get to win money if you win. But yeah, this is the last part.
So
That's
you
all.
never went to one that was just like no one showed up and you're looking around?
I went to online ones where like we got together and like we were gonna build something and nothing ever happened. So
Okay,
that's why I strictly try to avoid online ones just for that reason.
thank you.
If you can go to a local one, go to a local one. That's all I have to say. But any other questions?
Anything else you want to recommend on how not to start?
Not really. You just have to
Okay.
wing it until you get to it.
Take a sleeping bag and.
Just take a sleeping bag. Actually, you don't need a sleeping bag, but yeah.
Okay.
Oh, and also if you want to follow me and whatever, here's my social links.
Social security number?
Yeah, social security number and the H8. Yeah, if you want to follow me and whatever, DevPost is like the place I put my hackathons. I got LinkedIn, GitHub, Twitter, whatever. Yeah. Anything else? That's it.
Thank you.
So let's feature now. Okay.
That's good.
Thank you.
Thank you.